Welcome to the Personal Finance Podcast for doctors with Meena Shriram and Chanda Varma. This podcast aims to simplify all aspects of personal finance and help you make smart and informed choices about money so that you can live happier and stress-free lives. Today's episode is brought to you by Chanda Varma, who is a financial coach and vice president with the doctor practice at MFA, the only company in India having a dedicated practice for doctors, helping them plan and achieve their financial goals. Established in 2005, MFA is recognized as the most trusted and respected firm in the industry and have built this reputation by always putting their clients' best interest above everything and taking care of their money the way they would do it for their parents or best friends. Over the last 8 years, Chanda Varma has interacted with more than 3,000 doctors and has been a speaker at medical conferences and conducted many financial literacy webinars for doctors. Needless to say, she understands the finer-most nuances of a doctor's financial life. Do listen to this episode, and now over to Chanda.
Hello, I'm Chanda Varma, Vice President and Financial Coach at MFA. Today I'm talking about one of the most common and favorite saving instrument that doctors invest in, fixed deposits, and why it is a costly mistake one needs to avoid. Now, FDs have been around for ages. Our grandparents, parents, cousins, uncles, aunts, friends, all have invested in it, and we have seen them benefit from it. But yet here we are saying this is a mistake. Let's understand. And I'm going to discuss this in detail with one of the very experienced doctors, Dr. Meena Prabhoo, who many of you would know. She is a gynecologist, and her husband, Dr. Ram Prabhoo, is an orthopedic surgeon. Together, they have successfully run their hospital, Mukund Hospital, in Mumbai for last 39 years. They are the most respected, trusted, and gifted doctors in our country today. And for me, Dr. Meena is like a mentor, a friend, a guide, besides being our client for last 4 years. And the reason she is here is because she was a staunch believer in FDs, but changed her point of view in keeping with the changing times. And she wants to share her story with all of you. So welcome, Dr. Meena.
Thank you so much for the superlatives that you have used before my name. I'm really honored today. Well, on hindsight, I feel I wish I had met MFA and Chanda much earlier in my life. But never to say that it's never too late.
When we met, I know that you were doing your investments for last 30 years in fixed deposits with various well-known banks and corporates. And so what was it that made FD, you a staunch believer in FD? What was it that FD was your preferred investment as it is for so many doctors?
Well, to be very truthful, I would say that we did not know of any alternatives. I mean, we are looking back straight around, like you said, 39 years. Well, you could say 39 years before. We had no alternatives. Secondly, I feel you emulate your parents and that generation who thoroughly believed in fixed deposits and their favorite banks, that is the State Bank of India, Bank of India, and we being Saraswat, the Saraswat Bank. And we always were told if State Bank of India flops, then the country will flop. So, you might as well invest over there. Then we were obviously looking for safe and guaranteed sort of investments. And we copied our parents' ideas. Banks were also, if you see in those days, were easily accessible. Well, other thing I felt that we probably did all this was because of FD receipt, a little piece of paper with a promise on it saying that you're going to earn so much after 4 years or 3 years or 1 year was tangible. We felt there was something. Today, what MFA has promised me, there's nothing I can touch. It's all a phone call away. So I don't know. I have nothing at home to say that I have this much money or that much money. But that FD gave me a lot of comfort in those days. Now, when we had to start our hospital, we took overdrafts, a little bit of it, on the FDs. So that was also very easy. something for instrumentation, something that. So all in all, I think that is the reason why we were, inducted into this FD culture, our generation. And moreover, I mustn't forget, in those days, banks gave nearly 12.5 to 13.5%, and corporates gave even more. They went right up to 15, what you are promising anyway.
Actually, everything that you said resonates so much, because we have spoken to so many doctors, right? And for doctors, FD equal to safety. Even though today that interest rates are so down, FD is equal to safety, because somewhere they are just thinking, मेरा पैसा तो नहीं डूबेगा ना, मेरा capital तो safe है, negative कभी नहीं होगा. So safety is intangible, it's only in our mind. Secondly, and most importantly, Dr. Meena, like you said, interest rates that time were very high. But today, even any bank you take, ICICI, HDFC, Saraswat, like you said, most of these banks, they are providing interest rates of only 5.5% maximum. And this is pre-tax. You doctors being in the highest tax bracket, 30%, you end up paying 30% tax on this 5.5%. So really, your money in fixed deposits earns as much as it earns in the savings account. It's not growing. But because you're not seeing the tax, you're not paying it upfront, it doesn't hit you. Right, Dr. Meena? I think that was one of the reasons why you decided to shift from FDs. Why don't you throw some light on the reasons why you really figured that you need to move from FD?
In fact, like you introduced to everybody, I feel everybody should read Amar Pandit's book. I've read it thrice, because first time, second time, and finally a third time, which I felt, and that is why I remembered clearly telling you all, I will meet you after reading the book completely. You have your own story written. It looks as if it's written for you.
Yeah.
So once this well-wishers told us that go try out, at least meet them once. So after reading the book, we did meet you, both Ram and me met you finally, and what you told us made a lot of sense, because why? You wrote it down on a proper piece of paper. You calculated for us and showed us that, look, this is the percent of interest that you're getting in the bank at the moment. You are in the 30% tax bracket. So what are you left with? And this is inflation year on year is this amount. So one fine day you are going to, it's not that you'll starve, you will, but your money will never grow. In fact, it is depreciating at a very fast rate, and it makes no sense in keeping it with these banks. You must invest it wisely in mutual funds with a bit of equity, depending on your appetite and goal. And then I remember you sitting down and asking us, what are your goals in life? Write them down. No, we hadn't even thought of it before. I mean, what was it? By the time you had met us, our children's education was practically done. So that was not a goal left. But actually, like, obviously, health is the first thing on our mind. Even if you have Mediclaim, you know how expensive it is. And COVID has taught everybody how expensive a corporate hospital today in Mumbai can be. So, obviously, because everything was goal-oriented, we knew how much money, we were losing day on day. We decided to give this a good try, that we were quite convinced.
Yeah. In fact, do you remember, Dr. Meena, when we actually sat down and did the calculation, the sudden realization that this hidden giant, this inflation is actually eating your money, it just hits you, doesn't it? But like I said, it's hidden. So most doctors don't understand the impact. And what I would like to do is, taking this cue from you, I actually want to share an example so that people understand what we are talking about. The impact of inflation does not show, like you said, in 4 years or 5 years. It will show over a longer period of time. So let's say you have a fixed deposit amount of 5 CR. The interest rate that you're getting on this fixed deposit is 6% every year. Okay. Which means that the interest you're actually earning is 30 lakh rupees per year, which is so good, sounds good. But you're paying a tax of 30% on it, which means 9 lakh rupees on this 30 lakh you're paying as taxes to the government. So what you are actually earning is 21 lakh rupees every year. which comes to only 4.2% per year. Now, the inflation in the Indian economy over the last 2 decades, on an average, is between 6 to 7%. So then, is your money really growing? 6% and your money is earning 4.2%. It's actually negative, but people don't see this because we don't see inflation. We don't see the taxes. Now, how does this impact in the long term? Let's look at that. Let's suppose that you're a doctor who's looking to slow down, and most doctors have told us that by the time they reach the age of 65, 67, they want to slow down. And let's assume that the income that you need to maintain your standard of living, irrespective of the fact whether your practice is earning you any money or not, is 2 lakh rupees per month, then you're comfortable. Now, your entire corpus, which is kept in FD, which is safe, is giving you 4.2% return. Now, we all understand that 500 rupees that we earn today can buy us certain goods, which it cannot buy us 5 years or 10 years down the line because the prices increase. So if you need 24 lakh rupees as of today, let's say at the age of 65, you will need definitely much, much more 10 years down the line. And it comes to almost 42 lakhs rupees is what you would need 10 years down the line with inflation being at 6%. If you keep your entire corpus of 5 crore in FD, and let's say you keep going on that way, you will see that by the time you reach the age 81 years, that is 15 years from the age 65, you run out of your capital of the entire 5 CR. It doesn't last you. So what should you do? Now, if you know that you have 5 crore as a corpus, and you know this has to last you for the next 25 years, you have a little bit of back calculation that you need to do. And this shows us that you need to earn at least 9% post-tax so that your corpus of 5 crore lasts you for the next 25 years till your age of 90, even though there is inflation in the economy, whether things change in the economy, whether the political parties change, whether the market goes up and down, if you receive 9% post-tax till the age of 90, your corpus lasts. You do not run out of it. You're not dipping into your capital. It lasts you for 25 years. And this is in spite of inflation year on year. So the difference here is that this corpus should not be fully in FD. It has to be distributed in different instruments of your choice, of your comfort. A proper allocation needs to be done, whether it's real estate, whether it's mutual funds, whether it is national savings certificate, whether it is fixed deposits. The overall allocation needs to be seen. Now, just like every patient is different, there is no thumb rule here. Every doctor is different. Everyone's life situation is different. Everyone's needs are different. Everyone's risk-taking ability is different. Your time horizon is different. We have so many doctors who say, I will work till the age of 75. Then their calculations change. So the idea is to plan till the age of 90 and not just make investments, because anyone can make those investments. And when we have done these calculations for most doctors, they've realized that they need to make a change. Just like such calculations helped Dr. Meena Prabhoo realize it. And Dr. Meena Prabhoo, I think it's not very easy to change, I'm sure that once these calculations were done and you decided to move, how comfortable was it for you? Can you share that experience with us?
Well, I don't think, we did a background check on y'all. The first and foremost thing, we realized that we are no good in doing anything with the share market. Many of our colleagues enjoy that. They buy shares, they sell shares, and they spend a considerable time of the day doing that besides doing their medicine. But we were somewhat not, both of us were not in any mood or capable of doing any stock market work. We were not trained for that, or we didn't realize. And on top of it, at certain, I think in the 90s, the Harshad Mehta scam broke. And many of our friends and colleagues became broke, So there was a little scare of trying to experiment on your own. And how you rightly said, see, like when we are doctors, we give an advice to you as a patient. You do your own marketing, you try and find out whether there are other doctors who will tell you the same thing, and then you make up your mind, whether you should go with Dr. A or Dr. B. That's granted. I think it's fair enough for anyone to do that. The same way I would call you all financial doctors. I mean, nobody can jump into something 100%. They should take their, take, one step at a time. Make sure. So we too made sure, because some of our senior doctors whom we knew closely, who were very good at their work, very honest, and had a lot of integrity, were your clients already. So we said, if so and so is your client, then why not? I mean, that means everything is overboard. Then, so we decided that, if then coming to your office, we fell in love with your office because we saw so many people working. It was not that just some agent or two girls are coming to our home and telling us, please put your money in XYZ or XYZ. So, that also gave us a bit of, a lot of confidence, like how you need a good family doctor. We need a good and honest family financial advisor. After that, I think one thing what I've found with your company, and I'm sure there are many companies also there, it's not that MFA probably is the only company in the world, but there are many companies also or individuals also. But with y'all, we found that y'all were accessible 24/7 like a good family doctor. Till today, even if you go on a 2-day holiday, you will always find a WhatsApp saying contact so and so in case of any problem. So all these things is professional, and there's a review of our situation every month, every 3 months, and any brain waves, because see, a lot of people come to doctors saying, doctor, this is this factory available, this is this available, do you want to buy it, do you want to invest in it? Now the pharma is booming and jumping all around, so they want you to invest in all these nutraceuticals and vitamin C, as if there's no other tablet on earth, because it's the safest thing to do. So we have people asking us. So we know whom to ask. The first phone call goes to y'all. Is it a safe proposition? Do you think it is right? And we've never found y'all, lacking in giving us the right answers, because you calculate and give us a paper to support what you're talking. That is very important. It's not like, no, don't do it or do this. This has no meaning. So we have found you all very transparent, very cooperative, and very honest. And very, very, one other thing is, you will never tell another person what the other one has invested. So that is also the secrecy factor is very important, because people don't like to disclose many things on the first hand. So we have found all this, and you all fitted the bill like a good family doctor, and that is why we went along with you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Meena, for all those comments. Actually, I must applaud, because, it's a very tough decision to make. I know so many doctors who are not so willing, even though they know it will help them, they are not so willing to move away from their FDs, but you realize that it is going to help you, and you took that decision. I think two things were very most important. That is, one is that you did not see your entire corpus as one whole. You realize that we were talking about goals. You realize that it's important to create different buckets, because like you said, even within a couple, the husband and wife can have separate goals. They want their money to do different things for them, right? So, for example, for you guys, travel was so important. You didn't want it to come out of your retirement kitty. You also wanted to keep your hospital staff and your hospital needs separately. You also wanted to keep something separate in case the kids need something when they take over the practice. You needed something for contingencies and emergencies for health. So we created these different buckets. Often what happens is people look at it as one whole, they dip into it, and then other goals get compromised, which does not happen with goal-based planning, which we did. Secondly, I think accountability. As financial coach, I don't think financial planning is about investments, right? Now, most doctors, you would know, like you said also, have money, 5 crore, 10 crore, kahin nahi gaya. Everyone saves, everyone invests, everyone is earning. But do you have that someone, some specialist who is actually taking accountability that whatever happens around you, you will achieve your goals? So the market doesn't have to be only up. The market, if the market is down, they'll wash your hands off your goals. No. Is there accountability there? I think that's the reason why you chose us. That's the reason why most doctors choose us. You know, today only, when this message was going around about our talk on fixed deposits, I got a message from another doctor, a cardiac surgeon, who actually said this, and I'll quote it: medicines cure diseases, but only doctors can cure patients. And I so agreed with that thought, because I said this is also, you know, our investment. Like financial doctors, it's the same thing for us. Fixed deposits, mutual funds, these are all medicines, these are all products. They'll help you create a corpus, but it's only a specialist, an advisor, who will give you an objective financial planning, who will be able to make a difference to your financial life. Dr. Meena, you've already spoken about all the things that you assist about us. But so tell us, what are the benefits you've experienced after going through these changes? And we've taken 4 years to go through these changes. What do you experience now?
To put it in just one single line, peace of mind. We realized in our life what was enough, because most of us, I'm not saying only doctors, it can be from every field. People, when they work, they do not know what is enough. I mean, monetary wise for them. So they go on and on earning, and they're trying things out because they feel that money may not be enough for maybe whatever goals. But you people, rightly, like you said, you made it into a goal based. So basically your approach to this goal thing made us feel very, very peaceful. And in our COVID times, right, the first month, you people were so supportive, because we had a hospital too. Rather, more than the hospital, the staff to support. There was a staff of 40 who were looking towards us, because everywhere there was panic. There were hardly any patients. There was this, the sickness was scaring everybody. So, from all ways, and plus our own home, how to run it, what to do. But we realized that we had, because of proper planning with you guys, we didn't have that stress in our mind. We knew we would survive this. It's a question of time. Even today, I don't think we are there where we were. But I must proudly say, not a single of my staff has been had a pay cut from day one or the first month. So we saw to it that they work. Since they had put in so many years, it was our duty to support them. And it can only happen if we are clear in our mind what money we have to spare. So you people gave us that comfort, that don't worry, you have sufficient to float. At least there's nothing that you need to be panicky about. So I must thank you all for that.
And I think there's one line that you always say in our meeting, that now all I want to do is take care of my health and spread happiness,
Yes.
just enjoy the act of giving. I think that kind of summarizes the feeling that you have of financial freedom. So, what would your advice be to all the doctors who are listening to you, your colleagues, your the people who look up to you?
I would especially tell doctors of my children's age group, those who are between their 30s and their 40s, that please start young. Start even before 30 years old. Even if you are doing just 2,000 SIPs or whatever, just put it in, save right from the beginning. Get hold of a financial advisor. You are there to guide them, because you are doing it for our children. Then plan your goals. I would tell even the youngsters, see, plan. Even it may be something like, I want to buy this car, or I want to put my child in so and so school. So you
Yeah.
plan for it, so you know how much money you probably require for it, because at that time and that age, retirement is so far away. But a doctor must realize that he is a daily wage earner. If he has, forget about death, but even if he lands up with something like retinal detachment, some injury, maybe sometimes paralysis, and nowadays these sicknesses are so varied, he will not be able to work. So he needs to be financially secure from day one. And that can only be done if somebody smart who knows about it, who is doing it in your own interest, will help you to wade through it. So I would say, and please, people always panic because I hear it in our, like parties and phone. Arey, the market niche gaya hai, becho becho, ye karo, paisa gaya. People are just panicking. Don't worry, stick around. What goes up will go down, and what goes down will surely come up. As long as you have good this thing, if you need the money, take it out. If you don't need the money, leave it there. It will surely grow in the hands of someone good. But don't panic because the whole world or everyone here is panicking. So that is another thing I would really say, tell people. And most important, my last thing, do not lose focus on being a good, honest doctor, honing your own skills and helping all strata of society. Because if you spend time of your day only thinking of money and multiplying your money yourself all the time, you would be wasting your time, your energy, and anything that is important in life. Even you lose your own relations with people at home.
Well said, Dr. Meena. I don't think I could have said it any better. I think you always, being a doctor, I think you realize that the role, the specialization is what you realize, right? Because, say, if I start worrying about money, then when will I concentrate on what I want to do or what I am good at? So you always say that just like we are specialists in our field, we should have people who are specialists in managing people's money, because this is experience and this is wisdom which comes from working day in and day out. So thank you, Dr. Prabhu, for your very frank and very honest conversation. I'm sure it is going to help a lot of colleagues listening to this. What I would like to do is just summarize all this as 5 key takeaways, and please, Dr. Meena, feel free to add to this. Number 1, doctors, figure out your post-tax returns from your fixed deposits. If it is less than inflation, inflation is at 6%, 7%. If your post-tax returns are less than inflation, then it is a very costly mistake you're doing. Do not keep your entire corpus in FDs. Takeaway number 2. So what should you do? As a thumb rule, typically, whatever are your contingency or whatever are your emergency needs, plus a buffer, let's say 6 to 12 months monthly needs of yours, is the amount you should keep in FDs. So if you need 2 lakh rupees or 3 lakh rupees a month, multiply it by 6 months or 12 months. So max 36 lakhs rupees is what you should have in your FD, not more than that. Number 3, for people who are in nil tax bracket and are very conservative, like Dr. Meena said, they don't know about stock market, they don't want anything to know about stock market, etc. They can then look at money in FDs, but then again, they have to take this calculated call, knowing whether this is going to meet all their goals, only if they are in the nil tax bracket. Number 4, when you are planning your slowing down phase, your retirement phase, we've already seen that if you leave your entire corpus or majority of your corpus in FDs, it is not going to last you because of inflation, because of taxes. But again, no investment is wrong, no investment is bad. What is important is to realize what should be the exposure to that investment. How much should be in your FD? 20%, 30%, 50%? What should be in the other products? So that overall you're able to achieve the right rate of interest on your life savings to be able to live comfortably the way you want. And last but not the least, number 5, ask yourself 2 questions. Number 1, do you have someone like a family doctor who knows everything about your life, about your financial needs, and will help you take a very unbiased, objective view? You know why? Because a lot of times my feelings or what people say to me or my biases as an investor comes in the way of me investing my money? And number two, ask yourself, do you have someone who has an approach just like you, doctor? Because what do you do for your patients? You work for your patient's best interest, isn't it? When a patient comes to you, you're not thinking, oh, I'll give him this medicine or this is the money I'll make out of him. What you're thinking is, what is his problem? You try to understand your patient, you try to diagnose, you try to have a plan of treatment to cure him, to cure the problem that he's facing. Similarly, find out if you have that one person who will help you achieve all your goals, irrespective of what happens in his life or in the market around.
This brings us to the end of this episode. But stay tuned for our next episode on another topic which will be most relevant to you doctors.
You were listening to the Personal Finance Podcast for Doctors with Chanda Varma. If you find this podcast relevant and interesting, it will be great if you leave a review, share, like, subscribe, and share it with other doctors. You could also let us know if there is any specific topic that you would like us to cover. For any queries or help, you can get in touch with MFA's Doctor Practice Team at 959-40-62326. That is 959-406-2326.